Hey everybody, and welcome back for another deep dive.
It's great to be back.
Today we're diving into the world of relationships.
Ooh.
Always a fun one, right?
Always.
We are looking at this article called 7 Signs They No Longer Want to Be With You.
Okay.
And the goal here isn't to freak anybody out,
Right.
but to give you a little more knowledge about your own relationships.
Yeah, sometimes things feel a little off, and it's hard to really trust that.
Right.
So hopefully this will give people a few more tools to kind of figure out what's going on.
Yeah, give you that little decoder ring.
Exactly.
Okay. So this article jumps right in.
Okay.
Sign number 1.
All right.
You feel it deep down inside.
Mm-hmm.
Talking about intuition here.
Yeah.
Saying sometimes it's not something you see, you just feel it.
And that's where it gets really interesting because,
Yeah.
Our intuition picks up on things
Yeah.
often, long before our conscious mind does. So it's almost like you're noticing a change in their tone of voice.
Yeah.
Or the way they look at you, or maybe there's less physical touch, and your intuition's already piecing that puzzle together.
So our intuition's like our own personal relationship detective.
Agree.
Working behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes, yeah.
But how do you know if it's your intuition or if you're just being paranoid?
That's a great question. And it can be really tricky to differentiate.
Right.
But intuition tends to be quiet and persistent.
Okay.
It's that nagging feeling that something's not quite right,
Got it.
even if you can't pinpoint it.
Okay.
Paranoia, on the other hand, is much louder, more dramatic, usually fueled by fear or insecurity.
So it's like learning to listen to those whispers instead of, those shouts.
Exactly.
Okay, so sign number 2.
Okay.
They've stopped showing affection.
And this is not just physical affection.
Right.
It's not just holding hands or kissing goodnight.
Mm-hmm.
It's about those small acts of emotional affection.
I like that.
Those good morning texts.
Yeah.
The way they used to listen to you when you told a story.
Right.
Remembering your favorite coffee order.
Oh, yeah.
All those things.
Yeah, and the article makes a really good point.
Okay.
It says, love doesn't just cool off like that.
Yeah.
It's not like a, cup of coffee that gets cold.
Right.
It's a choice.
It's an active choice.
Yeah, it's like a conscious decision.
Yeah. And it makes you think about how we define affection.
Ooh, that's good.
Because, affection is subjective.
Right.
What feels loving to one person may not to another.
Totally.
That's why it's so important to understand, your partner's love language.
Yes.
How do they best receive and express love?
Like speaking different languages. You
Yes,
might be
it-
saying, I love you in one language, and they need to hear it in another.
Exactly.
All right, let's move on to sign number 3.
Okay.
They avoid commitment or delay plans.
Okay.
This one can be a little tricky
It can be.
because, commitment means different things to different people. For some people, it's moving in together or getting married.
Right.
But for others, it could just be, making solid plans to have dinner next week.
Mm.
The key is whether they're actively, working towards that shared future or putting on the brakes.
Right. Are they moving towards you or away from you?
Yeah.
Basically.
Exactly.
That's a good way to put it.
This article mentions that for some people, commitment triggers like a fear response,
Yeah, for sure.
like this big, scary monster.
Yeah, it can be really scary for a lot of people.
But it says love is not rational. Love doesn't wait for the right moment.
That's such a powerful statement.
It is.
And it really speaks to the idea that when you're in love,
Yeah.
those fears kind of fade away.
Right.
You're willing to take that leap of faith because being with that person feels more important than anything else.
Yeah, it's about trusting the process and trusting your heart.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so sign number 4.
Yep.
You've become an annoyance to them.
Oh.
Remember those early days of the relationship when everything you did was adorable?
Yeah, the honeymoon phase,
Yeah,
right?
Like even your little quirks were cute.
Exactly the way you hum along to the radio or you leave your shoes by the door.
Right.
All those little things.
Yeah, but then when the love lens starts to fade, those things that were once cute become annoying.
Yeah, it's like the rose-colored glasses come off and suddenly
Yeah.
it's not so cute anymore.
Yeah. And it makes me think about that quote from the article that says, love makes us tolerant, even blind to the flaws of the person we care about.
Yeah, when we're in love,
Mm-hmm.
we tend to focus on the positive.
Right.
We see the best in our partner.
Yeah.
And, we're more likely to overlook those imperfections.
Right.
But then, as love fades,
Yeah.
our perspective shifts, and we might find ourselves being more critical.
Yeah. So it's not like you changed, it's just the lens is different.
Exactly, the lens has changed.
Okay, let's talk about number 5.
Okay,
They've lost interest in your life.
and this one is all about emotional presence,
Okay.
or rather a lack thereof.
Right.
It's the difference between being physically present with someone and being present in the conversation.
Yeah.
You know, you could be sitting right next to each other on the couch,
Right.
but their mind is miles away.
It's like relationship autopilot,
Yeah,
going through the motions, but there's no connection.
exactly.
Yeah, this article talks about how important active listening is.
Right.
Really tuning into what your partner is saying, asking questions, showing that you're genuinely curious about their life.
Active listening is so powerful.
It is.
It's about putting your own thoughts aside
Yeah.
and just really focusing on your partner.
Tuning in.
Tuning in. Yeah. Making them feel heard.
It makes me wonder, do you think we've become worse at listening now?
Oh, interesting.
With, our phones and all these distractions.
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And I think there's probably some truth to that.
Yeah.
We're constantly bombarded with information,
Right.
and it can be so hard to shut off and really focus on what our partner is saying.
Right.
So we have to make that extra effort.
Create those sacred spaces where we can actually connect.
Yeah.
Okay, so number 6.
Yeah.
They always have an excuse to avoid spending time with you.
Yeah.
And, I mean, we all have busy lives.
We do.
But this is talking about a noticeable shift in priorities.
Right in the beginning of a relationship,
Yeah.
we go out of our way to see the person.
Oh, for sure.
We move mountains.
Yeah. Rearrange schedules.
Cancel plans, all of it.
Yeah.
But then, as time goes on and things change,
Yeah.
so do our priorities.
And this article put it perfectly. It says, when someone loves you, they'll move mountains to be with you. So
Yeah.
it's about the effort,
Exactly.
making that person a priority.
Yeah, and if you find yourself constantly initiating plans or, being told, oh, I'm too busy,
Yeah.
it might be a sign that something is up.
Yeah, something's off.
Yeah.
Okay, we've made it to number 7, and this one is tough.
Okay.
They ask for time or a break.
Ooh, that's a hard one.
This one's confusing because sometimes you need space.
Right.
But the article's point is that love shouldn't need a timeout.
That's the key distinction.
Yeah.
When someone's really committed and in love,
Yeah.
they don't need a break to figure out how they feel.
Right.
And needing time often means that there's some uncertainty there.
Right.
Maybe they want to explore other options, and that can be really painful.
It's like you're in relationship limbo.
Yeah.
So what do you do if somebody asks for a break?
Well, that's a really personal decision.
Yeah.
There's no right answer.
Right.
But I think it's really important to consider your own happiness.
Right.
You deserve to be with someone who wants to be with you,
Absolutely.
who doesn't need a break to figure that out.
Right.
Sometimes giving someone space can help clarify things for both people.
Yeah. And it helps you set boundaries and figure out what you need. Now, this article, it focused a lot on the signs from your partner.
Right.
But what about the signs within ourselves?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Yeah. How do we get better at recognizing those?
Yeah. Self-awareness is so important for a healthy relationship.
Absolutely.
And I think it starts with tuning in to your own emotions.
Okay.
Really asking yourself, how do I feel when I'm with this person? Do I feel happy and supported?
Yeah.
Or am I walking on eggshells?
Right. Or do you feel drained?
Yeah. Are you anxious?
Ah.
All of those things.
And how you communicate with your partner can be a really good clue, too.
Right.
Are you being open and honest?
Yeah.
Or are you holding back because you're afraid of, causing an argument?
Exactly.
So it's about understanding your needs and your boundaries.
Yes. And recognizing any patterns.
What are the patterns? We all have them.
Yeah, we do.
Sometimes we bring them from relationship to relationship without even realizing it.
Absolutely.
So I think a big takeaway from this is communication, self-awareness,
Yes.
and honoring our own needs in relationships.
Yeah, these 7 signs, they're not meant to make you paranoid or anything like that.
Nope.
They're just to give you more information
Yeah.
and encourage you to talk to your partner.
Yeah. And remember, you deserve to be in a relationship where you feel loved and respected.
Absolutely. Don't settle for anything less.
All right. So we've talked about those signs.
Yes.
We've talked about the importance of communication and that sometimes things just don't work out. So how do you know when it's time to actually walk away?
Oh, that's a tough one.
It is.
And I think it's different for everybody.
Right.
But I would say if you've tried to communicate your needs, if you've given the relationship a fair shot
Yeah.
and you're still unhappy,
Yeah.
then it might be time to consider
Yeah.
if this is really right for you.
Because it takes courage to walk away,
It does.
especially when you've invested so much.
Yeah,
But sometimes it's the best thing.
it is.
And it's important to remember you have options.
Yes, you do.
We're going to pick up right here in part 2.
We are.
where we'll explore some more resources and strategies.
Stay tuned.
Welcome back to our deep dive on relationships.
It's good to be back.
You know, before the break, we were talking about making that decision, when to walk away.
It's a big one.
It is, and it's never easy.
No, it's not.
But it's important to remember that choosing yourself isn't selfish.
Right. It's actually an act of self-love.
Exactly.
It's self-respect.
Yeah, but when you're in it, it's hard to see clearly.
It is.
It's like being stuck in a maze and you can't find your way out.
Yeah.
Any advice for people who are feeling that way?
Yeah, I think getting an outside perspective can be really helpful.
Okay.
Talk to a friend or family member, someone you trust,
Right?
who can give you some objective advice.
Like a relationship sounding board.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And just saying things out loud can help you process it all,
Oh, yeah, totally.
help you see things more clearly.
Right. And of course, therapy is always a great resource.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
A therapist can give you a safe space to talk about everything,
right.
help you work through challenges and develop better coping skills.
Yeah, and they can help you understand your own patterns too.
Exactly.
Now, this article focused a lot on those signs from your partner.
Right.
But what about the signs within ourselves?
Ooh, that's so important.
Yeah, how do we get better at recognizing those?
Well, like we were saying, self-awareness is key.
Right.
And I think it starts with tuning into your own emotions.
Okay.
Ask yourself, how do I feel when I'm with my partner?
Mm-hmm.
Do I feel happy?
Yeah.
Do I feel supported?
Do I feel drained?
Yeah, do I feel anxious?
Yeah.
All of those things.
Pay attention to how you're communicating too.
Yeah.
Are you being open?
Are you being honest?
Yeah. Are you holding back? It's
Mhm.
about knowing your needs and your boundaries.
And noticing those patterns.
Oh, yeah.
We all have them.
We do.
And sometimes we bring them from relationship to relationship.
Without even realizing it.
Yeah, and that's where therapy can be really helpful
Right.
to unpack all of that.
So I think the biggest takeaway here is communication, self-awareness,
Mhm.
and honoring our own needs.
Absolutely.
It's not about being paranoid.
No, not at all.
It's about, knowing what's going on and being able to talk to your partner
Exactly.
and remembering that you deserve to be happy.
You do.
So if you're listening to this and you're relating to some of these signs,
Yeah,
you're not alone.
not at all.
And you do have options.
You do.
We're going to talk more about those options when we come back in part 3.
We are.
We'll have even more resources and strategies.
So stay tuned.
And we are back for the final part of our relationship deep dive.
So glad you're still with us.
Before we went to part 3, we were talking about self-awareness.
And getting support when things get tough.
Yeah, and you were saying that building self-awareness isn't just about recognizing when things are bad.
Right. It's also about, appreciating the good times.
Yeah, celebrating those moments of connection.
Exactly. Because sometimes when we're so focused on what's not working,
Mm-hmm.
we forget to appreciate the good stuff.
It's like anything else, balance is key.
That's a great way to put it.
So let's talk about some practical things we can do to strengthen our relationships.
Okay.
Like, what are some daily habits or practices?
One of the simplest things is gratitude.
Okay.
Just taking a moment each day to really appreciate your partner
Yeah.
and express that gratitude.
Yeah, a simple thank you goes a long way.
It really does.
Or maybe a handwritten note.
Oh, yeah.
Those little things.
And it's not just about grand gestures.
Right?
It's about noticing the little things.
The everyday stuff.
Exactly.
And what about quality time?
Oh, that's huge.
Yeah.
And I'm not just talking about being in the same room.
Right.
It's about putting the phones away.
Yeah.
Really connecting.
Having those deep conversations. Being present.
And sometimes quality time means doing something fun together.
Oh, for sure.
Like trying a new restaurant,
Yeah.
going on a hike.
We're just cuddling up and watching a movie.
Exactly.
It's about making memories and strengthening that bond.
And I think it's important to remember that relationships take work.
Oh, they do.
They're not always easy.
Definitely not.
There will be ups and downs.
Yeah, it's about being willing to put in the effort.
Right, to communicate.
Yeah.
To grow together.
And sometimes that means asking for help.
Yeah, like therapy.
Exactly.
There's no shame in that.
No, not at all. It shows that you're committed.
So as we wrap up this deep dive on the 7 signs, I think the biggest takeaway is that relationships are always changing.
They are.
They need our attention.
Yes.
They need communication
Absolutely.
and a willingness to grow.
Both individually and together.
And you deserve to be happy.
You do.
Never settle for anything less.
Well said.
So have you experienced any of these signs in your own relationships?
Yeah. Tell us about it.
What are your strategies?
We'd love to hear from you.
Leave a comment down below.
Yeah.
And that's it for today's deep dive.
This is a good one. Until next time, keep exploring.